Once upon a time, there was a high school student named George in rural northern Mozambique. He was from a family of subsistence farmers, wasn't blessed with new shoes or smartphones, but was blessed with honesty and determination. Every day in his dusty town littered with mango trees, he split his time outside of school between farming, weeding, and reading a crumbling English dictionary held together with packaging tape. It was his dream to become an English teacher. One day, an American dropped into his village, the first of their kind, to teach chemistry for his class. Strange. Was he CIS, spreading HIV? Was he here to cut all our trees and overturn the earth? Albeit he did cut a couple trees, but to build a foreign contraption for children to climb and entertain themselves seemed innocent. Initially out of curiosity, then out of camaraderie, George visited this American's house every day after school. He farmed with him, he taught him the local dialect, killed some chickens together, all while practicing his English. The American seemed to appreciate George's company, and one day asked him what he dreamt of. George told him he wanted to attend college. Why? The American asked. George said he wanted to become an English teacher so that he could support his 9 siblings and his parents with an income. The American nodded and thought. A couple months later, he provided George with the college exam fee and travel costs, about $19. George traveled to the provincial capital and took the exam. He did well on it. He knew that. He also knew that, from word on the street, other candidates had bribed the proctors, values well beyond George's means. When results were announced, he didn't see his name. He returned to his town and explained to the American what had happened. The American was quite upset, so much so that he supposedly recorded a rap song and posted it on YouTube. He told George he'd look for other means, and both quietly returned to their school roles. 6 months passed, and George graduated from secondary school. On that same day, George received a text from the American saying that he had set up a peanut butter factory with the help of the US Embassy and a local nonprofit. He asked George if he'd like to work there. George elatedly jumped on this opportunity and spent 6 months with the American, roasting and grinding juicy, crisp peanuts and packaging them for local sales. For the first time in his life, George had an income. However, trouble struck again when COVID arrived and the American left. The factory abruptly closed and George was left unemployed. Shells of peanuts lay on the silent floor. The only chance he saw to transform his life, of eating corn porridge every day, repairing the same shoes from a decade ago, and having no means to pursue education, much less support those of his 9 siblings. He rolled back into his hometown to farm and weed, looking for any work possible. 3 years passed. Then one morning, he received a WhatsApp message from that American. "Hi George, hope you're well, it's been a while. I'm returning to Mozambique to start a new peanut butter factory. What do you say? You want to work with me again?" George had to reread that 3 times. The last image he had of his old friend with his 2 beat-up suitcases came into focus. George threw together all his belongings, a few pair of old clothes, a remnant of an old pot, and of course, his old dictionary. He hopped onto the local minivan and traveled to the next door province of Cabo Delgado, where the new peanut butter factory was. For the second time in his life, George had an income. Now, the story of George doesn't end. Adapting to a business environment hasn't come easy. High expectations wake him at night, relatives plead for transfers 24/7, and temptations of money nag at his identity. Yet fast forward 3 years of struggle. Today, in 2024, George thrives in this business. Honest and determined, as the American recalls, from subsistence farming, he dreamt of becoming a teacher. He still may, but to the American, he was his teacher from the start. And now with your new friends and opportunities, keep dreaming big, George. Thank you.